to 1961 was the first race at Bristol, the Volunteer 500. And in this race, Jack Smith was driving the number 46 Pontiac, but Johnny, you took over the wheel of that car and on lap 292 and got the win. It wasn't officially listed as your win, but you helped out with that win. And could you tell us, or maybe if you could recall that race that day?
Oh yeah, I recall that one. That was a big day, and I started the race in a Chevrolet. I had a 61 Chevrolet that my rear end burned up early in the race, and so I was out of the car and I was just hanging around the pit area to see if maybe somebody might need relief because it was a 500 lap race, and it was in July. And it was really hot, and so I thought somebody might need relief. Anyway, what happened was Jack Smith was getting his leg was getting burnt because of an exhaust leak or something that was. Anyway, he was leading the race at the time, but he wasn't going to be able to continue because he was burning up. So he sent the pit crew out and they knew I was out of the race. And I'd worked with Jack before, and we were good friends. Anyway, he sent for me, and Jack came in and got out of the car when he was leading the race when he came in for me to take over. And I don't know if he had a lap lead or what, or couldn't tell back then. Anyway, I got in the car, and Jack is really big, and I was pretty small, so I had to cinch up best I could. Anyway, I got back out on the track, and time I got used to the car, and we lost a good bit of time. Anyway, I ended up, I think I still was in the lead, so he must have been 2 or 3 laps ahead. And I remember Richard Petty was running second and about a straightaway behind me. And I was able to maintain the lead till the end of the race. I think Fireball ran second. I think he was a couple laps down. But the car drove a lot. It was a lot faster than my Chevrolet, but anyway, it was hot in there, but there was no way I was going to get out.
Yeah,
I kind of expected Jack once he got cooled off and rested up that he would call me in so that he'd be in the car to finish, but he never did. I really couldn't afford to lose a couple laps changing drivers. So, yeah. But anyway, I was happy to see the checker flag and to share the winners' honors or whatever with Jack. We got pictures of Jack and I sitting on top of the car with the reef and his. I think his son was one of ones there too. Anyway, and Jack shared the winnings with me too.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't remember
what that was, but I thought that was so that was a good day because I really needed the money. I hadn't had a good car for a while.
And I bet. I mean, that, as you mentioned, is a special day. And I didn't even know the reason when I've read in like some of my books, I didn't know that Jack Smith had his leg was burning up. I didn't know about that. And you went out there and you won by 2 laps, if I'm correct from what my research was. You won by 2 laps in that race, and yeah, it definitely was a special moment. Now, let's talk about your win at Bowman Gray in '62. Was the Myers Brothers 200 at Bowman Gray. So you ended up winning that race by only 6 inches over Rex White, and from what I heard, y'all crashed across the line. And you got the win. Can you tell us about that?
Well, that was an exciting race. I was driving for Holly Farms at the time. Junior Johnson had been driving for him in '62, and he and the crew chief couldn't got where they weren't getting along. They were leading races and car was breaking. There was something happened to their race, and so he told the sponsors, the owners of the car, says, you need to get rid of Crawford, or I'm going to have to quit because he's just not maintaining the car like he should. And of course, Crawford's defense was, Junior Johnson would break an anvil. There's no way anybody gonna keep a car under him because he's just hard. He's wide open or stop. That's all his two speeds. And so anyway, Junior was, of course, lived there at Holly Farms, and he was really good, close friends with the owners of Holly Farms, and the car, they didn't want to fire him, and I think Crawford had moved his family up there, so it kind of put them in a situation. Finally, ended up they did a tire test right before the May 600 at Charlotte, and I don't know if he blew a tire or what happened, but anyway, he got it in the wall. I don't know what the cause was, but the Junior got out of the car. He said, "That's it, I quit," and he quit him.
Wow.
It was right before the Charlotte 600, and Crawford Clemens, he knew anyway. He knew. Anyway, he called me. At the time I was supposed to be driving for Red Boat, who had a '62 Pontiac, but the sponsor was not able to run many races because he just didn't have the funds to do it, and so he called me. When Crawford called me, he offered me that ride. That was that was going to be a permanent ride, and it was a top running car. And of course, Red Volt's car was fast too. But anyway, I needed something solid. So I went to Red and then told him about it. I said, "I hate to leave you," but he said, "Hey, I can't promise you anything. You got to look after you. You need to go. You need to do that." So that was great. That relieved me of the pressure there. But so anyway, I moved to North. Well, not initially. I went up there and I ran the race. The first race was a 600 at Charlotte, and in the qualified up to the top. I don't know, top 10. I think the top 5 because I ended up leading the race a few laps before pit stops, 1 or 2 laps, I don't know, anyway. And, anyway, ran, I don't remember exactly, but anyway, come into pits and we went back out and didn't run long at all. And the harmonic balancer come apart on the front of the crankshaft. It went up into the radiator and got to the fan. And so it come in and they put a new fan on. Anyway, they got it back out. Of course, I think, at 20 something laps behind. But they said, "Well, just once you go back out there and just want to finish the race. We haven't been finishing any races, but we just go out there and run the good, running hard, go running hard." So I did. And I think I ended up gaining 1 lap back or maybe 2. But so there, our first race, and here I have a mechanical problem, just like Junior been having. Anyway, and that's kind of the way it went the rest of the year. We always ran good, and I had all kinds of mechanical problems, things that other Pontiacs had, and they had a fix for it. And Crawford never seemed to get the message, and our car always. There's a lot of Pontiacs out there back in '62. They were all built the same place up at Ray Nichols. And so, no reason. And anyway, so it's in Holly Farms had a '61 Pontiac that they had run the year before, that they had been running, Junior had been running on some short tracks. And so we would run that on some short tracks. And in Winston-Salem, that was, a short track for sure.
Yeah.
Went there with a car, and Rex White was qualified on the pole, and I qualified outside pole. And Rex had won several races there. He was excellent short track driver. Anyway, we ended up running the race bumper to bumper and side by side, and Rex led it for a while, and then I got the lead for a while. And I think Rex had it again anyway. It ended up I was leading the race, and it was a 200 lap race, and no cautions. I don't think, I can't remember any. And it ended up coming through the third and fourth turn, and I'm leading the race, and Rex is right on my bumper, and he's been trying to pass me, but traffic, it's really a narrow, short track, and passing is crowded enough, and there's no such thing as three abreast. So, and I came up on the car through the third and fourth turn, and I had the lap, and I went down past him underneath to make sure Rex didn't get a run underneath me, because I knew what that would mean. And so I went down low, but as we come off the corner, I was able to move up a little bit to go down the straightaway. And I don't know how Rex got any traction down there, but some way or another he got a run come off the corner, and he shot up to my door as we were going down the straightaway, and he had some momentum, and it looked like he was going to beat me to the line. And there, the starting line it's down close to the corner. It's not back to the middle of the straightaway. And of course, that track is just short anyway. If you don't back off before you get to the start finish line, you're not going to make the turn.
Yeah.
And so I had a choice right there. It just not even a second. It's instant choice: back off and not wreck, and let Rex win the race, or stay on the gas and beat him to the line and hope you don't tear the car up too bad, because I knew I couldn't get through the corner without spinning it or wrecking it. So anyway, I said, well, I've crashed faster than this, and that was the I guess that's not the wisdom of my decision. I said, no way, I'm not going to win this race, even if it means crashing. So I did, but I beat him by the chief scorer, which was Morris Metcalf back then. He had watched, because Rex and I had run back and forth the whole race really close, and he knew he felt sure it was going to be a really close finish. He sent another guy down to the start finish line. He says, you go down there, and I want you to be right there on the start finish line, and you need to call this, because they didn't have any cameras or any kind of stuff back then, not for short tracks. Anyway, I'm glad he did, because I said I only beat him by about a half a foot, or a foot maybe at the most. And I went into the guardrail, tore the right front up, and to walk back to the finish line for the trophy.
Wow. Well, I bet that definitely was really crazy. I mean, battling for the win there. Bowman Gray is a very short track. It's like less than half a mile. I've been there. I've gone to races when I was younger there, and it is a very narrow track, and it's also known as the madhouse. A lot of people like to bump each other and spin each other out of that place. But man,
it's not that they like to do it. It's you have to do it for survival. You have to, it's just two abreast is really crowded. It's only a quarter mile, and it's really flat. There's no bank, so it's just really you gotta, if you're starting back in the field and you're going to get to the front, you're going to have to move some people over. You don't really need to spin them, but sometimes you move them at the wrong time, or they react wrong and they spin. Anyway, it's an action track for sure, and it still draws crowds every week.
Yes.